Hello, Linda. It is not yet working, but you are so resourceful. You always make it work. I have the idea that you can hear me, which is really good because it's so pure. La 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 la, Linda, you are so resourceful with the sound. Yeah, this will always be recorded and available to you so you can listen to this again. Linda, Linda, you are so resourceful, yes. We are going to create a talk that is so impactful for everyone.
You missed your calling in life. You should be a singer. Add
Are
that
you
onto your repertoire.
are you saying that you were able to hear it all along? It's working though now.
No, it's not. I'm connected to my phone.
Oh, how interesting. Because I didn't allow you to join again with your phone.
No, it's just automatically one of the options. So I rejoined with my phone. I guess automatically, maybe because I was already in. Who knows? Don't argue.
Okay.
It worked.
I think it's a ghost. But you know,
It's okay. I like those.
that's for another day, another topic.
I'm good
Linda,
with those. I've had
my
many in my
friend,
life.
we're going to use this half an hour as best to our ability to create the most epic talk, even better than that you already have. I saw that you uploaded another file, and I'm gonna share my screen, this is the ghost, I think. Um, you uploaded it the 1st of January 1980. I'm born in
That is a
97.
go.
You,
See, it's not me.
if you
It
are
really is
saying
not
that
me.
you're behind, you cannot use that argument. You're up front. Okay, so what I would suggest, first of all, I would love hearing how you're going, how you're feeling, and how everything is for you. And then I would love to propose a proposal for us to do in this half an hour. So how is it going? How is
Okay.
it for you to create the talk?
How was it to create the talk? I've never done a speech before. I mean, I've held meetings, but I've never done a speech. So getting the idea of what I wanted my message to be and where I wanted to go was probably the hardest thing, in formulating the ideas and trying to get my stories into there to make my points. So once it started to move, it got easier once I could grasp on what I wanted the messaging to be.
Beautiful. And what is that
So
message that you decided to go for?
So I went for the message of resilience, and that in order to be resilient in life, you can have resilience built as a child. So you're always having events in your life that adds to your resiliency. But sometimes that resiliency is not everything that you need. So for me, it wasn't until I had caregiver burnout that I became resilient and realized that self-care was a priority for people to be survivors, in essence.
Wow. Okay, that's beautiful. What I would suggest, Linda, is that you're going to do it now live for me, like it is tomorrow, because I have an amazing surprise for you. I don't know if you already saw the WhatsApp. Did you see the WhatsApp already?
Or what? I don't know.
Our Impact Makers group.
I've been trying to get that other to load. So, and I actually had an accountability meeting right before this.
Okay, so great. So
So
you did not, which is
probably have
perfect.
not.
Because you were originally going to get on Thursday, but you will also actually already go tomorrow. So you're going to do your full talk tomorrow in front of the group. And what we're going to do now, what you're laughing at. What's
I
the
am definitely not ready for that.
Perfect. Perfect. So you're perfectly fine. You are going to share it from the heart like you're going to do with me now. And then the goal of that is not for you to be ready or to not be ready, or for me to say, you know, you're going to be 4 year ready and you're gonna grow wings on the way down. The real goal is that you speak it out again, and that you can see what do you feel you need to like work on a little bit, and you're going to listen to all the others who are also not feeling ready. I literally had just had
Mm-hmm.
Richie, and he was like, Lori, I don't know. And he done it so many times already.
But he
So
is ready, yeah.
exactly. So let's go through it together. I'm in your corner. You're not alone. So would you be able to do it like now live for me? And you can do it like you're doing a speech, but you can also just share your ideas and tell me what you got.
Okay, you want me, this is raw because I didn't even look at it this morning, last night. I stressed. Okay, you're killing me, Lori, this
I am.
morning.
I am.
Okay,
Are you
let's see if I
okay
can
with that?
remember.
Is it like in your growth zone, or are you hating me right now?
I don't hate. I don't hate. Fear, but no hate.
Okay.
Not who I am.
I love that. Appreciate that about you. Okay, let's go for it. I'm in your
Okay,
corner and we're gonna make something beautiful.
okay, you ready?
Yeah.
How many people know what a latchkey kid is? Raise your hand. I guess you don't. So a latchkey kid was me when I was 12 years old. That is someone who goes home and nobody is home for them. But in addition to that, I was responsible for my then 7-year-old brother. And I was his surrogate mother, or his second mother, for many years. Even as an adult, he called me his second mother. So think about having a rambunctious 7-year-old that you're responsible for. You're managing to do your homework, you have to cook, and you have to make sure that he stays out of trouble. So for him, that was not an easy thing. He was always getting in trouble. One day I hear the doorbell, some of his friends come, they running, come, he's bleeding, he fell. I go up, only 12 years old, nobody's home, nobody's there helping us take care. And he was bleeding from his forehead. He had bruises all on his legs. He had rocks in his feet. So grabbed a neighbor, went to the emergency room, and waited there till my parents came. So those years were years where I learned how to be independent. And I also was resilient because I was able to take care of him, and resourceful. I knew how to solve problems. So it was the beginning of my resilience in life. But even though it gave me a good ground, it also did not give me all of the skills that I needed. So while the challenges I faced as a latchkey kid did give me some resilience to be able to move forward, when I got married, and I had 4 children at the time, and they were all 2 years apart. So motherhood presented all new types of obstacles. I was working mother, taking care of 4 kids, sleepless nights, endless laundry, to balancing the needs of my children's responsibilities. And I was able to draw on some of the skills that I had as a latchkey kid: independence, problem solving, time managing. But it was still a challenge. And I was just surviving. I wasn't thriving, despite my resilience and my ability to navigate the challenges of motherhood. But the real test in my life came when I became a caregiver. My mother became sick and she had cancer. So not only I was supporting my 4 children, I was also there for my father, and at the time was also divorced. So I felt overwhelmed, exhausted, and isolated. It was not until I found myself on the floor one day, crying hysterically, feeling alone, hugging my little dog that had been my security, that I had realized I had hit bottom. There was no one there for me, and I didn't know what to do. But I realized that at that point, with not having anybody to do, that it was up to me to raise myself and to try to figure out how I would survive, because without me, everyone else was going to be out without my support. So I wasn't going to be able to take care of them. So through journaling, trying to figure out what was missing in my life, what I needed to do, I made a change. It was a breaking point for me. And the breaking point was the mindset. Was the fact that ever since I had been a child watching my brother, I had the mindset that I needed to take care of others. And in that turn, I decided, not that I decided, but that my self-care wasn't important. And that was consistent throughout my life. As a caregiver for my brother, as a caregiver for my children, as a caregiver for my husband. And actually, I ended up being a nurse. So that was just another layer to being a caregiver. So all I knew was taking care of others, and the core skill that I didn't have was prioritizing myself. And the other thing was to depend on myself instead of on anyone else, because those were two things that I had not learned throughout the years. So through journaling and mindfulness practices, I gradually began to shift my perspective. I started setting small achievable goals for self-care. And every day I would start with a 30-minute walk or spend 10 minutes meditating. It took a long time for me to get healthy and to realize that self-care was not selfish. And that the more I felt energized and balanced, the better I was as a caregiver, the more peaceful I was with my family. And I was able to be a better person. So through my experience as a latchkey kid and throughout my life, what I've realized is that there is one key skill that needs to be learned, that you need to prioritize yourself before you can take care of anyone else. And if you've learned that skill of prioritizing yourself, then you can conquer anything. That's it.
Wow. How did that feel for you?
It looked totally different than the one that I videoed last night, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably missed some key points, but I was just talking from the heart.
Yeah, you did. And how was it for you? Because what I've experienced myself throughout doing this whole journey for myself is that your own patterns become more clear that you did not see before. It's like now
Right.
you're looking at it. Like, are you able to put it like somewhere else than like cloudy around?
Mhm.
Like, oh, it's here. You can see it. You can touch it. It's like, oh my God, this is
Right.
true. Right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Like really, really, really. I think you can give yourself way more credit than you might give yourself. And what I want to share with you now. First, I want to hear 3 things that you did well according to yourself. What are the 3 things you did?
I think I like the fact that I had the stories. I probably could have expounded on them more
Mhm.
than I did. So that was the good and the bad. like that it started with the fact of the latchkey kit. I started with a question. Not everybody's going to know what that is. So I thought that was good. I'm not too sure whether I made all my points that I wanted to. I don't know if that was clear or not. So that was something I wasn't happy with. Whereas last time when I did it, I know they were a lot clearer, but that's because you caught me off guard today. So.
This is, by the way, maybe one of the coolest practices ever, Linda, because you were like, so you will definitely not forget it because there's a high emotion connected to it, which might be interesting for your story bank, first of all. Second thing, and this is a question I'm seeing more and more, is how much did the unexpected opportunity and you were not ready for it cost you? So it's not just the planned, rehearsed moments, it's the moments that's actually unexpected. So this was beautiful because this was unexpected and you rocked it, right? So this is another proof for yourself. Like, I totally got this. Like, when I'm given the opportunity to speak in front of a group and I couldn't practice, those are the biggest success stories because you will forget your notes, your PowerPoint won't work, you will forget it. It all. And then knowing that you can do this is beautiful. I hope you take that away because it's beautiful what you did, really. And what I would love to do is I made this for you while you were sharing. This is you. Look at you. This is you. And we're going to look at, when I listened to you, what did I notice based on the framework? So you can see it into practice and then we can together mold it into a way where the next version will be even better. And I truly think that tomorrow, because I said it and then when you responded, I'm like, if it really doesn't fit, you can do Thursday, but you're ready for Wednesday. I believe you're ready for Wednesday. And the beauty is you will do it with the feedback you got now. And then you got another iteration moment. So then on Thursday, you're just going to record one for yourself. You're sharing it with me, so you're able to get a lot of reps in this week. I think it actually works to your favor, to be really honest.
Okay.
Okay. So what I was hearing, right? When we go to the now and the new, I heard I was
Will I get a copy of this?
Yes, you will.
Would I? Okay, great. Okay,
you will get a copy of this and you get the recording of our call.
Okay.
So I heard you're surviving, not thriving. I heard I'm caring for others. I am resourceful and resilient. I am independent and I can manage time. I have the belief, when we think about beliefs, I needed to take care of others and I became a caregiver. I am a caregiver, I heard you say. So what the fun is about this is you can just riff and then now I give you the frame, right? This is the now and we talk about, based on what you just said, this is what came up. And what was the new? My self-care is important and not selfish. I'm prioritizing myself. The more I care for myself, the more I can care for others. Yeah, I wrote it 2 times. So then the teaching point, like what got in between, right? This was where, and this is the interesting part, where I would love to write down, this is 1, 2, and 3. So now I had to look a little, right? You were sharing a lot of things you were doing, and what would be exciting for you, and we can do this literally now together, is what are the 3 buckets of your teaching points that you can use? So the first thing that I heard is basically the biggest overarching thing that I heard was I needed to work on my mindset, where I believed that my self-care is not for others, it's for me. And because I do it for me, I can take care of others. So I had to shift my mindset. Then I set small goals around self-care. And then you shared something around journaling and mindfulness practice. So if you would share it out from the heart, and you have to take 3 things which have a specific order as well. What do you feel is the step 1? Is that the mindset?
Step 1 would be, Well, it would be the journaling to figure out the mindset, because people don't just automatically realize that they need to change their mindset, because it's the way you've thought all your life. And it's not till you retrospectively look at yourself and try to see what the problems are that you realize that one of the issues is that you had the mindset that it was selfish to take care of yourself, that you needed to care for others. Yeah, the awareness.
So, number one, awareness, journal, and figure out what your thoughts are. Step number two.
Right.
What would be step number two?
I guess it would probably changing those mindsets.
Change negative thoughts?
Well, I don't know if it's negative. So the mindsets that are involved in what I was talking about were two. One is that self-care is selfish, and the other one is that asking for help, you should not ask for help. You should be able to do everything yourself.
Okay. So maybe that could be even in the awareness stage.
Okay.
So this is how you can, oh, this is beautiful. Oh, I love this, Linda. I'm going to explain how this is going to manifest in your talk. This is super good. So the first thing is the awareness phase. These are awareness phases. Would you agree with me? So the awareness
Yes.
that those two thoughts are not real.
Right.
Now, what's the next step? You said change. Is that, do you still?
Right. Yeah, the next step is to start to work on how you can slowly start to do self-care, and it's physical, emotional, spiritual.
Physical, emotional, and spiritual. Perfect. And then step number 3
would be under each of those areas, figure out how you can work on those areas by setting goals. For example, for emotional, it's, doing meditation. For physical, it's eating better, sleeping, and
I love it. I love this. Okay, so basically, these are the 3 steps. Now, when you are crafting it, you want to understand where people are coming from. So journal and figure out what your thoughts are. The negative ones is self-care is selfish, asking for help is weak. Self-care is necessary, asking for help is brave or is strong, right?
Right, okay.
So now we're starting to make the new very clear, which will help you in your talk, because you will easily get where you were. So now we have, okay, there's 3 steps from coming from surviving and taking care of others and forgetting yourself and feeling lonely, all those feelings you shared, to thriving. You are taking care of yourself. You feel so full. Your cup is so full, so you can take care of all the others. In order for you to do that, from getting there to there, there's 3 steps. The first step is awareness, then change, then action, and you can change the words, right? I was just like writing it down, and maybe you want to think. So the first one is journaling, figuring out what the thoughts are, then replacing those thoughts for positive supposition, and then what are the goals and the action steps you're going to take to get there. And then we can look, and let's do that now, at the story blocks. So I heard these scenes, so to speak. I heard, and I didn't completely understand it. So you were 12 and you had to take care of a 7-year-old.
Right.
Okay. So, is it okay if I'm just doing this like the way we do now?
Sure,
Is it
of
helpful?
course. Of
Okay.
course. Yeah.
So what was the relationship with the 7-year-old? Was it a sibling?
My brother.
Your
He's
brother.
my brother. Hmm.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Now, I actually originally, and I had put it in there, but I didn't think it was good because that's not normal. A lot of parents are home or kids are left for anything, but my parents were first generation Americans wanting that American dream, to own a home. And they felt, I guess I had proven myself through my years that I was responsible enough, even at the age of 12, and that there were always people, neighbors home in case I needed anything, but I didn't know whether that was anything to put into it or worth putting into it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So, okay, I will share some thoughts and then you can take what works for you and what resonates. Because what we want to make sure of is that your story is facilitating the transformation for someone else, right? So,
Right.
the action step, what do you want to offer at the end? Like, what is something you would love to do? Because your program
Well,
is
for me,
facilitating self-care, right? For the
right.
audience.
Well, my program, and I didn't know whether I needed to do that. So bottom line, my program is called Serenity. And what Serenity is, yeah,
Like,
is an acronym. And what Serenity means is to help caregivers get all the tools and support they need to be effective caregivers with a joyful mindset.
this is amazing. Super cool.
So S means self-care, stress management. E means education, because I do healthcare advocacy also. R means relationships. So this is sandwich generation caregivers. E is empathy. N is network, which is being with people, socializing. I is identity. T is time management. And Y is you. So it works on the whole person. It's a holistic point of view, taking into consideration all the stresses of the outside environment as well as your internal
And then
challenges.
if you go through the 1, 2, and 3, Linda, is it also like a 1, 2, and 3 of your different steps of your serenity part? Or is it just like more like an overarching through line above it?
Serenity is the overarching program
Yeah.
with courses in it
Yeah.
that touch on. So the first one would be self-care. So if you don't have self-care, you're not prioritizing self-care, you're not going to be able to move to the next level because you don't have an
Okay.
open mind, you don't know how to.
Okay. So what I'm thinking of, this is fun. I know it's time. Is it okay if we take a little bit more time to help you out and feel
Of
super
course,
safe?
of
Okay.
course.
So this is fun. So your program is going to be Serenity. So people will go for that step. So what we need to make sure of, that they have enough conscious understanding of that is what they need, but the gap of where they are and where they want to go is really clear. So I would use the word serenity in this thing like at least 3 times. So at the end, what I want to hear is who, like something along the lines of like, who would love to put yourself first for once and for all? Well, that's why I'm here. Blah 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 blah. This is called the Serenity Method. It's the 7 steps that you need to take to get there. These were 3, but there are 4 more. And we will go in depth in all of them. So my question is awareness, does that connect to, for example, the S?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So yeah, awareness is part of self-care. You have to be aware of it.
So what could be fun is, your 3 steps are S, E, and R. So then you say, these were the first 3. but in reality, it's way more than this. Does it make sense? So you're already teasing them.
Okay.
So the first one was self-care. Number 2 was
Well, we can change that because I have it as education, but we can do empathy.
empathy.
Because that's what, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
how
like it. Yeah,
that might work in better because the other one is just something added.
yeah. And then number 3 would be,
Relationships.
oh, I like it. And without changing too much, we can. Yeah, so then you can do the story like I need to first have the self-care is basically the same, right? So from self-care is selfish to self-care is necessary, empathy, and then so the first thing I needed to do is taking care of myself. The second thing, empathy. The third thing, the relationships part. And then you're gonna explain what you did there. So now let's use, you have 3 buckets of your stories. You have 3 time travel moments. You have the 12-year-old, you have the married with kids, and you have the divorced. And I think those are really great examples, to be honest. What I'm thinking, what if you would tell me 3 coolness pieces of you, what would you say they are?
Coolness pieces of me
Yeah.
that I survived through my life.
Throughout your whole life.
Throughout my whole life, I have ended up surviving and being better than ever. That's the coolness that I have 4 beautiful established children that whatever.
What
So
is
that's something
one example of your, like, what is one beautiful established thing that one of your kids is doing now?
God, all my kids do pretty amazing stuff, most of them. The one is that she's, I don't know, it wouldn't make a difference for you because I don't know if you have it, but in the education, she's a director, Department of Social Studies for the state of New Jersey.
Super cool. Okay, what else? Yeah, another one.
What?
Other kid.
Another kid. I have, my son works with developing young people in New York City through sports.
Yeah. What else?
You want another kid? She works in my third kid. My third kid is cool because, and I don't know if I should include this. So my ex-husband was a sailor. So we owned sailboats throughout our life. We used to race too. I used to race also, but my one daughter really has a passion for it. And she raced a sailboat, a small, I think like 35-foot sailboat with several of the people from San Francisco to Hawaii.
Wow. What else? You have 4 kids.
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to think how I explain the other one. The other one, I mean, she went to a maritime academy.
Do what?
A maritime academy. That's
Maritime?
where it's a regimented school where you learn about maritime law and import and export and I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, the work that she does is based on what she learned, but.
Okay, yeah. It's always, right? Like, how do you explain like a whole life in one word? Of course. So did you have a passion for sailing as well?
Oh, well, my kids, since they were really little, have always sailed. I would take them during the summers to go to camp and learn how to sail. So they've all
You can sail
sailed.
as well.
You
can sail.
Yeah.
Linda,
I used to race.
so
I haven't done it in a long time. Yeah, we used to race. I have stories in my story library about bad storms and kids being tied up so they don't fall overboard.
Okay, we want to hear some of those. Like, because this is why I'm saying this. Like, what you have now, honestly, is a really, really good story. Like, you have the framework of a really, really beautiful story. And I'm not learning so much about you yet. And I want to, because I want to learn from you. I feel safe with you. I feel that I'm connecting, but I'm not connecting yet. Like, just on the fact that you were a little bit of, like stuff happened to you that's not nice and now you recovered from it.
Right,
But I'm not learning
right.
something from you yet about your person. And when you say I love sailing, I'm like, that's cool. That's coolness. That's coolness on itself. My coolness is already I'm from the Netherlands. It's like, what is something
Right.
contradictional from probably people in the audience or actually really connects with them? You look in the Netherlands, I won't say it. I will say I work with America. Right? So now
Right.
it's the different lens. So it's not always the same coolness, but it's what makes you different, what makes you special.
Right.
The fact that you're sailing is cool. That's coolness, 100%. So,
Hmm.
and I want to look at the time a bit as well. I have another call coming up, but I want to make sure that we have a like something that you're not more overwhelmed, but you have more clarity. Is
I know
That's
more.
nice. That's nice, huh? So let's start with the start. What if I'm just gonna share this, you get the recording. So who here loves taking care of other people? Raise your hands. Wow, everybody. That's why I love being in this room so much. Who loves taking care of yourself too? Oh, wow. Little
Mhm.
less hands. Or you can say something, who loves um who is this person that when someone asks, hey, can you help me out? Whether it's your children, your colleagues, or your parents, you're the one saying yes. So now they can see a
Mhm.
picture, right? Are you the one saying yes? Oh, that's me. So are you the one who's pouring that after a long day of work, you prioritize a bubble bath for yourself, or reading a book, or making a healthy meal?
So would I put one, just pick one of these or work this through?
I would take two. So the first bucket is who loves to take care of others. The second bucket is who loves taking care of yourself. But there's different ways of saying it, so you can experiment with them. And I did now two of each. So you can watch this back and pick the one that you like the most. The goal is that you feel that other people feel, okay, this is about me, right? Because now your question was
Right.
basically about you. So it's a really
Right.
nice engagement loop, but I don't feel yet as an
Right.
audience like this is about me. So now I'm like, okay, this is about me. Okay, perfect. Um, well, I'm Linda, and in the next 30 minutes, I would love to, or let me think. Is this you? Well, the truth of the matter is what happens in this room is not special, or is actually quite connected to high achievers. So let's give yourself a round of applause of being here and wanting to learn more. And what my mission is today is that I would love for you to give yourself a little bit more love, not just so you can be more fulfilled and more successful, but also, and I know that's where your heart lies, you can also pour that into the ones you love even more. Who would love that? Loving yourself more, being more healthy, being there, even saying more yes and not feel tired at the end of the day. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Mhm.
Um, and in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share the three key takeaways on how to get there. And is it okay if I share a little bit about why I'm so passionate about this?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
now they're giving you permission to talk about yourself. And then you can start with, well, I grew up, where did you grow up?
In the Bronx in New York.
I grew up in the Bronx in New York. And for the people from New York, you know that it looked a little bit like this. And then you give one statement of what it looks like, right? Can you tell me a little bit? What specificities come up for you now?
What do you mean, as far as the Bronx,
Yeah.
or as far as where I lived? So it was a tough neighborhood. I mean, the Bronx was, I was bullied.
Mm.
I was, it was more blacks than whites. So I was a minority.
Ah, okay, this is great.
So that's what,
This is great. This is fuel. Like you're telling really good picture statements now. We can see it. So I grew up in a first generation American family in New York, the Bronx. And for anyone who
Mhm.
doesn't know the Bronx, it's a place in New York where when you look around, white people get discriminated, you know?
I don't know if I want to say it.
Or no, you
Really?
can choose what to say. What I felt, what I experienced is that people, or yeah, if you feel uncomfortable, you should not say it, but something along the lines like I grew up in Bronx, first Americans, and I totally got seen by my parents. They and the goal that I'm sharing with you now, I'll explain a bit. And I was helping out the family. I was taking care of my 7-year-old brother. I was cooking him his favorite pasta. I was getting him prepped for his soccer practice. And this one day where he boinked his head on this road where it was bleeding out, and my parents both still were working because they wanted to make it work for
Mhm.
us in New York. I was going for him to the and now you might be wondering, well,
Hospital. Yeah.
is it what's so special about the story and what makes you so passionate about about self-care, or what I would love to say, complete serenity?
Mhm.
Well, in that moment, I wasn't 25 years old. I was 12. So now you're setting the scene and now something unexpected happens which will draw people in.
Mhm.
And from that moment forward, I learned, or in that period, I learned taking care of other people, that's just what Linda does.
Mhm.
Because I know in that moment, you can even time travel, because in that moment, I know taking care of others, that's just what
Mhm.
Linda does. Because now they will hear it for
Right.
themselves, like, oh my God, yes, it's me. Oh my God, that's me, right? Taking care
Right.
of others, that's just what Linda does. And now you even dissociate yourself from yourself because you're now in a new person. So,
Right.
and that is just what Linda does. That's what Linda does when what was your age when you got married?
When I got married, 20.
20? That's still what
Mhm.
Linda does when she gets 20. She
And I
marries,
actually finished college married.
sorry?
So I finished college when I was married.
Wow,
So I was married and in college.
those things, right? So that's still what Linda does when she gets married. Not at 30, at 20, while being in college. And while Linda was reading or studying for her exams in July, she was making sure that Mr. Husband got his meatballs on the, so now you start to create the picture. I mean, meatballs is very Dutch, but you start to create the picture of something specific that you always done. While Linda
Uh-huh.
was studying for exams to finish her studies as a blah blah blah, she was also making sure that this was done, this was done, this was done, this was done, and I went like super ridiculous specific things, right? That the Magnum ice creams were always in the fridge, that the shoes were always the brown shoes were
Mhm.
always clean, so Miss could go to church with a whatever what it was for you. So really, really
Right.
specific things that again share something about your things. So maybe it was a sports club, maybe it was this. So now we get more perspective of who is Linda. That is still what Linda does when she thinks she's choosing for herself and divorce the guy because of blah, blah, blah. Whatever you feel comfortable, you don't need to say anything. Because now mom is sick. And taking care of others is just what Linda does. I would really use that sentence like maybe 3, 4, 5 times. And when Linda lies crying on the floor and the dog is the only one who takes care, Linda still thinks, did the dog eat today? In the darkest of the deepest moments, Linda is still thinking the thought, taking care of others is just what Linda does. But in that moment, and in that moment right here, right now with all of you, who's ready? Or, and now it becomes part of you. And now you're like, so what I learned, and now you're starting to now, and now you're owning it. And now you have a different voice, you have a different cadence, you have a different rhythm. You start to share stories of what's happening. And those are the 3, who's okay of learning the 3 things. And you can even say, now for you, it might be not so extreme, but maybe it is. But wherever you are now, who would love to focus a little bit more on your own dreams, except the ones from other people? You're in the right place at the right time. Get your pencil out, because you're going to learn the 3 things that I did to own my fire. Who feels I'm owning my fire right here? To own my fire right here. To share what I've done. From being taken care of others to actually thriving as a human. And I'm going to spill you a secret. My kids get even more spoiled. Now I'm thriving too. So let's dive into it. So now you're using all of the data that you just shared with me. I'm not making up new stuff. I'm using what you did. I'm just putting it in a little different order, and sometimes making an engagement loop, and use the lens of specificity versus broadness, which I know is easy to say and harder to do. I mean, this took me, I think, 10 years, but not to where I'm now. So don't feel like you're like, oh my God, Lori, this doesn't sound easy to me at all. If that's the truth, then totally human, because I've kind of studied this for 10 years obsessively. So that's why we're here together on the same team. Does this make sense for you when you hear all of this?
Oh, yeah, it does. It doesn't sound like me, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like me from the story, but not the presentation aspect.
So what are the things that I said that when you would translate that to your own language, you feel those are the 3 things you would implement?
Say that again.
So, because I was riffing, and I always say, don't be more like Lori, but what from the place that I was just sharing, when you would translate it to Linda, would really resonate with you? And what are then 3 things you can implement right now for your keynote now?
Oh, no, what the things you said, I can see and I can change. It's just changing the story around and how I present it. I mean, definitely I'll have to watch it and figure out where I feel comfortable making those changes. I'm not the type of person who's used to talking about myself. Let's put it that way. So consistent with my persona of caring for others, putting others first, I don't talk about myself, but I want to make sure that other people don't suffer the way I did, and they have those tools necessary to be able to accomplish whatever it might be, whether it's, being a caregiver, going through divorce, illness, whatever. So that's the challenge for me, talking about myself in a positive, changing. It almost feels like bragging, but I know it's not. It's just, telling a story. I understand.
And, do you feel comfortable if you would do it tomorrow? I don't want to put you in front of like something like super shitty that you feel really uncomfortable about, but I do want to stretch you. You know the difference.
Yeah. Is it possible to do it Thursday?
It is. I give you the option.
I would probably prefer to do it Thursday, just because we're taking it from a totally different person, another part of Linda. So I kind of need to get used to this, to practice this new Linda, which you're totally right, and it would work for my business, and I would, with this new persona, I would be able to excel. So we're good. But I think I need at least a full day to kind of figure out how I'm going to incorporate and what it's going to feel like for me, so it's natural.
And I'm giving you that time. So you're gonna do it Thursday. You're gonna do it
I
Thursday.
appreciate that.
Yeah. And
Okay.
and Linda, this is because like this is an emotional roller coaster. It's not like the end result has to be a good talk. The end result sometimes is like, holy cow, now I actually start to see what I'm actually teaching. Now I start to see the stories. Now I see the through line. You know, the end result is the process. So what you're saying, this is the gold. This is the gold. So you're doing it really right. And if there would be like what would feel for you to feel next? Like I've heard from some people like the next step for me, I just talked to Richie's, like the next step for me is getting onto stages and really like get myself out there. What do you feel for you is the next step?
I've actually thought about that also, getting into stages with people who could learn from this, that would impact them. So I've thought about that also.
Like really like getting yourself out there and booking yourself on stages.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Because I'm like getting data from everybody because I know how to do it, right? So I'm figuring out like how to create something that's really useful for everybody. So you don't need to do that all alone, and you have the support and the steps to really do that.
Right.
So I'll share a little bit more about it when it's more crystallized, but no, you don't have to do that alone.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else? What you feel you
Anything else?
now you're like, just let me do the thing.
Now I'm like,
Yeah, that's good. And I'm here. So feel free to text me or whatsoever. This is a process where it like it explodes, becomes clearer, and then it explodes again and then becomes clearer. This is part of the process. So you're stepping right
no,
into
I think this is, yeah, I think this is great. And I mean, I understand everything you say. I know your presentation is the right way because it brings people in. It shows us emotion. It shows emotion. You tell the story. I have the stories, but you tell them in a different way to capture people. And with what you've said, I have been kind of figuring out how I can pull them together. I could probably even add stuff into there.
Beautiful. What I'm going to do for you, Linda, because what is not the essential of this conversation is that you're going to be like high energy, slightly aggressive. You're you. And I'm just sharing some thoughts, and you're really truly not going to copy it. You know, you're going to make it you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share an end result of someone that I know I can share it about, because if it's not, I won't share it. But she's sharing it with other people, and it's online. So I'm going to share one of the talks of a person who changed the talk like one day before, and it was a little clunky, but it was the most amazing, powerful talk that she did ever. And I'm going to share it with you because she's not using anything of what I said, and yet it was super powerful. So if there would be something, you know, specific to take away, is like, okay, how can I make it even more specific? And how can I make different scenes more visible for people so they can see it and experience it, right? That's step number one. Like, don't include everything I taught because you will make yourself crazy.
No, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So with what you did, how can you already make it more specific? If you do that on Thursday, you're rocking and rolling it, right? Don't see this now as this one big obstacle, because it won't be fun anymore. And that was the goal, is to have small fun moments of improvement. So I will share that video with you, because I think it will give you a lot of like breathing room. Like, it truly, perfection is an illusion. When you say, I just really want to help those people, like from that place you want to come, and not like, oh my God, Lori said to say this one sentence and I forgot it, so I'm stupid. No, you are the most beautiful person when you come from here. So I'm gonna give you that example, if you have time to watch it, it would be fun for you
Oh,
to see,
yeah.
like, oh, this is good. And oh,
Mhm.
I think you will resonate with her a lot. Yeah, no, really, really mean it quite seriously, because I'm me and you're you. And I have knowledge about
Right,
it, and you have the heart on this. And that always wins.
right.
So it's the small steps, Linda. It's the small steps that at some point you look back at your breakthrough of week 1, you're like, oh me, I learned a lot, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, granted, I met you through Mastermind, so that jump for me was huge anyway. So I'm like way past what I ever was, and you're just, icing to the whole process that I'm going through.
Yeah, you're a
So
rocket.
it's me being reinvented.
Yeah,
I'm Linda 201.
yes. And I'm super proud of you. Linda, I just want you to know I use you as an example everywhere. The fact that you said, I learned I'm cool, fills my heart until this day. And that's what it is. That's why I do it. I truly mean it. I truly mean it. Like, I get so much juice of life through seeing you. I mean it. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not saying this to be nice. Like, the way you handle life, I think, is so inspiring. And it's just
Okay.
so cool. Like, how old are you again?
68.
68. Like, my grandma is 75. I mean, it's a little older, but like, to see you like go through this and say, I'm figuring out Zoom. I'm just connecting with my phone. I'm like, I don't even know how to do it. You're figuring it out. You're always resourceful. You come with an open heart. You take notes. Like, it's so cool, Linda. I want you to know that your being is already inspiring. It really, really is. Really.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you.
Yes.
I never felt that way, though. That's the
Yeah.
funny part.
Yeah, and it's getting clearer for me now. I'm hearing more of your story, and I'm sure there's more and more and more.
There is more.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the beauty of this. You're able to use it as a catalyst, and now you're not only getting healing through it by putting it out there into a
Right,
story, because that's what it is, right?
right,
And then you're sharing it, and then other people experience healing through it, which does so much to your energetics field. It's magic.
right.
It truly is. I'm proud of you, and I cannot wait to see it
Oh,
tomorrow.
thank you.
Tomorrow we're going to watch some other people, and you're gonna listen to them like, oh, what are they doing?
Right.
Oh, this is great. And then on Thursday you're gonna do it.
Okay, that sounds cool. I'm good with that.
All right, Linda. See you tomorrow.
Okay,
Ciao,
love you.
ciao. Love you
Bye.
too.